and we've spoken to some of them over the period of time. You know, they say that they've had to sell their houses, jewelries of their wives, and even some of them had to sell their cars to ensure that they keep their lives going, and they even had a tough time getting employed after that, especially the pilots, because most of the prospective employees would ask for a flying experience of 7 months, and they had not flown for several months because of the Kingfisher Airlines being grounded. With such a background, they have for years together now tried to approach Vijay Mallya. They have staged protests in front of UB City, the property owned by Mallya here in Bengaluru, and they've also tried to draw his attention at every AGM that he was chairing, but they've not even received an audience from a man for whom they worked for years together and had lost so much because of, and suffered so much because of. And this very emotional, hard-hitting open letter not just takes on Vijay Mallya, calling him cruel, calling him saying that he has blood on his hands, but also takes on the system, the corrupt system that they say which allowed him to get away, be it the banks that gave him a long rope for several years, ensuring that he has an escape plan in place, or even CBI, which is now woken up. They say, why could they not have stepped in earlier, probably started criminal proceedings against this man for fraud? Why is this aggressive stance coming in so late when they've had to suffer for several years with nobody to assist them?
Right, Pooja, just stay with us. In fact, we also managed to speak to some of those former employees of KFA, and once again, let's listen in from them. What exactly is their condition now that their dues are long delayed?
Be it the Joint Secretary Civil Aviation or the Director General Civil Aviation, the people he used to go to meet, or the Chairman of Airport Authority, by virtue of his being a member of Parliament, they were forced to wait for him, and they could not override or cancel the appointment which he held, even if they had to wait for him for about an hour and a half, 2 hours or 3 hours sometimes. We have been robbed of our legitimate dues, for which we have worked very sincerely. We have a trail of income tax notices for taxes which were deducted from our salaries but not deposited with the income tax department, and we continue to get notices.
Working class people like us and thousands of us were taken for a ride by the so-called king of good times, who gave us the real bad time of our life. I suffered myself because I had taken an educational loan for my daughter, and my retired parents had to then, withdraw their entire, life savings to repay that loan, because I was unable to pay the loan due to no salaries.
Why don't they lock up this Mallya fellow like they've locked up that Sahara chap? He should be made to pay his dues. Such people should not be allowed to escape the rigors of the law. After all, it is public money which they have to pay back. There are hundreds of employees whose past wages this gentleman has to pay. So eventually there needs to be a very, very strict zero tolerance policy towards these alleged willful evaders of government dues. In fact, I would go so far as to say that the parliamentary performance of all these fellows who have managed to wiggle their way into the Rajya Sabha, representing employees of oligarchs, all kinds of dodgy businessmen who have a very dubious track record, their parliamentary record should be audited. It should be put in the public space as to what they have contributed to Parliament during their long stays there.